Young Victoria was often alone in the royal garden. She was just 10 years old, sitting quietly with a simple white dress and a small bouquet of flowers. The sun set behind her, casting a warm orange glow. A fountain trickled nearby. This lonely scene showed how isolated her childhood was. Years later, at the age of 16, Victoria attended a grand ball. The ballroom was lit with candles, and a gigantic chandelier sparkled above. There, she met Albert for the first time. He was a handsome young prince. He bowed politely while Victoria curtsied. They shared a shy smile, and the air turned magical. It was a moment neither of them would forget. When Victoria turned 20, she was already a queen. One day, in a beautifully adorned room, she stood confidently in front of Albert, who was seated. Taking his hand gently, she looked into his eyes and proposed. Albert was surprised but deeply touched by her words. Their love blossomed. On their wedding day, St. James's Palace was radiant. Victoria and Albert walked hand in hand down the grand aisle. Flower petals fell around them as they smiled at each other, and their guests clapped joyfully. It was a day of pure happiness. Victoria and Albert became partners in every sense of the word. Sitting side by side at a large wooden desk, they discussed matters of state, maps, and letters spread out before them. They developed a strong partnership built on mutual respect. Each day brought new joys, especially within their family. In a sunlit garden, Victoria and Albert were surrounded by their children. They played and laughed together. Victoria held the hand of a young daughter, while Albert lifted their son into the air. Both parents beaming with joy. It was a picture of happiness. Tragedy struck when Albert passed away. Victoria mourned deeply. Dressed in black, she stood in a dimly lit room, gazing at Albert's portrait on the wall. Her face was filled with grief. The weight of her loss was immense and felt by all. Finally, even after Albert's death, Victoria's love for him never faded. She often sat by a window in a quiet room, holding one of his letters close to her heart. The soft light of dawn would filter in. Her eyes, filled with emotion, reflected on their love that had endured beyond death.